And welcome back to Bitcoin Advisors channel. My name is Chris, bringing it to you here from Westlake Village, California. And today is a beautiful little Friday morning. We're getting a bit of cloud cover this morning. And I just wanted to follow up on the last 2 weeks. Sorry I missed you guys. I was at Bitcoin Miami. I had a canceled flight and lost some luggage. Needless to say, I am back. Glad to be here. And boy, I miss my my battle station. Anyways, let's follow up what we spoke about the past few weeks. Before that, and we were talking about a daily closure above 46,000. Very, very likely would give us a shot somewhere between 50 to 52,000. We were looking for a short-term stop at 48,000. We did get that stop at that point. And then your invalidation would have been as soon as we closed back below 44,500. That was an indication, okay, failed rally. And, this produced a 20% move to the downside. And that will correlate with open interest as we've been following up over the past few months. And we said, hey, look, once open interest gets back above 13 to 14 billion, very, very likely you could see a, somewhere around 25% correction. And looks like we got that move. Let's take a look at the fear and greed index coming in at a 26. So we're in the fearful zone. Typically, you get down in this fearful zone. Hasn't been a bad buying opportunity in past cycles. I would like to see it come a bit lower if, somewhere in the 10 region, and that typically is a decent buying opportunity, but not just something to blindly say, oh, it's at a 10, so I'm going to buy. So that's open interest. We've got the leverage ratio still very high. Are we at all-time highs? Not quite. We're just coming off the highs, but you can see this is scaled up quite a bit. So there's still quite a bit of leverage in the market. And what else did I want to bring up here is, well, this signature right here on the BBWP on the daily time frame. And what we've seen is that historically speaking, when BBWP gets this low, you're typically going to see at least let's measure a couple out. This last move, which remember, this is direction neutral. So if volatility is low, all we know is expansion is coming, and the price will typically go in the direction of the trend. So in this case, this last move down almost, what was that? I said 25%, or it was 20%. 20% to the downside. This one here, which correlates with this low here, in fact, was, let's see here. This one was to the tune of 28% to the upside. This one right here correlated with this this high to that low. So Bitcoin goes from 47,000 to 34,000. And, this is kind of the macro range right now, somewhere between 44.5 to the down. Well, actually, I'm going to tighten up this range a little bit. But as you can see, this range has been cooking for quite some time. And I do suspect a big move coming because volatility is low, not only on the daily time frame, but on the 5-day, which we'll touch on that in a minute. But yeah, this move here was 22% to the downside. And then this last one there was 37% to the upside. So, somewhere between 20 and 30% of a move correlates with daily BBWP being very, very low. So that is correlated, and I'll just widen my screen. I'm going to do full. There we go. So what does this daily time frame tell me here? We've got a higher high. We've got another higher low. Kind of a slew of these higher lows. And I heard somebody talking this morning about the three valleys or three lows like this. And saying, hey, look, usually it's the third one where you get the resolution, which the resolution point for me is going to be any kind of a daily closure. If you're conservative, 38,500, more aggressive, 39,200 to the downside. And that will give us a next target down to, I'll just move this line here. And so that would put us down at 36,000. I imagine we get a small bounce there and maybe even come lower to somewhere around 33 to 34,000. That is the downside resolution of the range. I do imagine we would pick up a decent bounce somewhere around 34 to 33,000 if it really gets going in that direction. We do have the silver cross coming in to the downside there. So another point for the bears. However, what would I say? Any kind of a daily closure, it's really going to be back above this 618 right here, which I'll show you that. Coming in right at 44,500. So any kind of a daily closure back above 44.5. That's going to look good for at least a swipe of 48 again. And very likely, I think we're going to hit that blue box up around 50 to 52,000. So there is the bullish and the bearish case. And I believe any kind of a daily closure, even just above this high here, 41,500, or call it 42,000, gives us a shot. A closure above the 382 typically gives you a shot at the 618. So, do I think it all ends today on Friday? Well, here's what's not helping us out, guys, and that is Dixie. The dollar is just flying to the moon, and we have had this 103 target for quite some time. And, any kind of a daily closure here or higher, we probably going to tag 102. And that would probably be in correlation with not only Dixie going, Dixie probably puts in a little bit of a high at some point. $100 is typically that number. And that, when dollar goes up, bad for stocks, bad for Bitcoin. And what is Nasdaq doing? Looking droopy as all ever. Any kind of a daily closure back below 13,725 very likely gets us a move back to 13,143. And that'd probably be in line with Bitcoin retesting the kind of range lows there. So just back onto Bitcoin real quick here. We got Nasdaq coming down. What else? Let's take a swoop of the whole market here. S&P, any kind of a daily closure back below 43,027. Yeah, very likely we get the move back down to the range lows here at 41,553. Can we save ourselves today and pick it up and just put in a little wick? And to me, it's looking a bit droopy. You've got Stokes crossing back down, momentum's down. And I'd say the only, hopium here is we put in some kind of a higher low right here. We got our higher high, and another higher low would look good for the S&P. But NASDAQ looks, would you consider that a higher high? Yeah, I mean, we just need a higher low here. Higher low or not. Flip around or not. Volatility is declining. So could this be a little bit of a corrective move, and maybe we come down to the 382, which if we take a look at, I'm willing to bet the 382, or sorry, the 236 is typically a bouncy area on a bullish retracement. That's kind of the last line in the sand, though, below there, and very, very likely hits those range lows. And we are just right about there right now. So I think what we need, guys, we need, why is the dollar going up and inflation so high? Does it make sense? Well, the dollar's just measured against all the other currencies in the world. So if the other currencies are getting weaker, it makes the dollar look artificially strong. And so that's it for Dixie. Any kind of a closure back below 99, and I think we retest 97. That's our kind of hopium case for the dollar. Then you got, what is the 5-day? Anyways, that's enough on Dixie. I think, we probably top out somewhere around 102, 103, and then that will be, the test. And kind of one of the more bearish cases is the dollar is so bullish right now. That's just typically not been the best thing for Bitcoin price action, let alone, some of our highly esteemed altcoins, which I guess we'll take a look there. What else did I want to touch on Bitcoin? Finally, lastly, the 5-day. Yep. So I'm just going to redraw this out and see if something like this, are we getting just, massive ascending triangle like that? We got a higher high. This does not look like higher. Well, it could be a higher low. Hasn't been confirmed. How would you confirm a higher low here? On the next 5-day closure, we'd have to close back above 43,000. And that would look good for at least to test the top side of the range around 47, 48,000. Or, at least, do we have any divergences playing out? No, it doesn't look like it. Except for this bearish divergence, which did play out. See this drive right here. We've got a higher high on prices making lower highs as RSI was making a higher high. 5-day momentum is to the downside. Volatility is extremely low. And we've been, following up on this one for some time, as Mr. Crown's been pointing out for months and months and months. Low 5-day BBWP typically gets you a 45% move to the upside or to the downside. And 45% to the upside would put us somewhere around 57,000. And to the downside from here, 45% to the downside puts you around 21. So, the resolution of this range is going to be pretty massive. 45% to the upside, 40% to the downside. And I think that, the market is always going to do exact opposite of what the majority of people think it's going to do. So are you a bull? Are you a bear? I don't know, but hopefully you can use this analysis to your benefit in some way, shape, or form. All right, next up, Ethereum. Ethereum's still technically looking a little better than Bitcoin as a more established higher high and a much better chance of putting in a higher low. We still got 3 days and 9 hours to resolve this 5 days. So it could be just be wicking down for a moment, and then we rally back up over the next 2 days. Well, what does the daily momentum say? Daily momentum will cross down with any kind of a closure below 2,925. So if momentum crosses to the downside as we get the same expansion of volatility, that's going to give us a targeted move off of this, pretty last week of pain. Last week of just slow grinding it out, boring people to death. Next target down is 2750 with a small bounce to the range lows around 2500. That's how I'd be looking at that. Are there any divergences playing out here? So, yeah, it looks like we're going to have a chance to put in that third drive of hidden bullish divergence when, again, prices are making higher lows. RSI is making significantly lower lows. And 3 drives gives you a shot to the top side of the range around 3,300. How are we going to confirm this on the daily with any kind of a daily closure back below above 31,037? So, you know, if you wanted to tighten up that range with one there, gosh, you can't even see that line. And I don't want a dotted line. I want regular lines, and I want 2. Yep. So I'll move this here. And, you know, that's a pretty tight range. Pretty tight range for Ethereum. So I'd be keeping a look out for this guy. How's it look on the weekly? The weekly, I'm just going to get rid of that line again. The weekly is looking, you know, I have to say, healthy amount of I don't know here. You've got, you know, slightly, probably some bullish divergence that played out. We got a first higher high, and so the question is higher low or not? Higher low or not? The weekly momentum is still to the upside as long as we are closing above 2,500 or 2,565. So keeping an eye out for that on Sunday evening. Let's move it on to Luna, starting off with the weekly. And I do believe here you would confirm a drive of hidden bullish divergence. Going back from this point right here, you probably have 1, 2, 3 drives of hidden bullish divergence. So this one's going to look really good if we can close anywhere, you know, $98, $99 or higher. That would give me a target back to the top side of the range around 114. 114. Somebody's messing with my lines. But yeah, 103 is kind of the line in the sand as for range resolution and probably making new all-time highs, I'd say. Any kind of a daily closure back above 103 is going to look for a shot for this move that we were looking to play out, you know, somewhere up to around, well, 160 over time, over weeks or months, but next shot at 138 to 137, somewhere in that range. That is going to look good for, what do we call this? Yeah, 1, 2, 3 drives of hidden bullish divergence. Prices making higher lows. RSI is making lower lows. However, momentum will be to the downside on the weekly if we cannot close this week back above $100. What do I got to say on the 4 hour? Let's take a look at a shorter term time frame. We've got probably a drive of hidden bearish divergence. Prices making a higher high. Any kind of a daily closure, basically below $90 here, and I'd say that would be your one. That'd only be one drive of bearish divergence, and you know, probably gives us a move back down to at least 88. If $88 gets taken out, that's kind of the line in the sand, and I think over time we'd head back down to at least $79, somewhere between $79 and $77 over time. So a lot of things are going to be hinging on the daily closure today. What is Bitcoin going to do? We don't know. Only time will tell. But that's how I'm reading the market right now, guys. What other coin did I want to follow up on? Comp, which comp looks like it's about to get a range kind of resolution here. Any kind of a daily or 4-hour closure back below 132. And I would be looking for 117 to get tagged over time on the daily. Let's see here. I mean, this does look like one massive range, you know. Same thing with Bitcoin and a lot of these other coins. We kind of got this first higher high, we got a higher low, and you know, this is not really a confirmed local high yet, but I do believe, yeah, any kind of a daily back below 132, and this one very likely comes back down even towards $100, which is near the all-time lows. However, if we get a range resolution with a daily closure back above 170, I would even lower that down to 160. I would say I'm looking for targets heading back all the way up to around $200. Mr. Gala Games, another one, hanging on to the lows right now, coming back from January this year. Let's take a look at Solana. Solana doing the same thing, a very similar picture. First higher high. Can we confirm this higher low? That is going to be the big question. And then can we get back above the 618? Which is going to be coming in right here at $124, call it 123. So any kind of a daily closure back above 123. First stop is 140. But any kind of a daily closure back below this wick right here, this little guy at 95, and I suspect we head back down to about 94. Okay, that's going to wrap it up for today, guys. I am wishing you all a wonderful, happy, blessed Friday. I will be back with another live video here very soon. Signing out. Take care.